Hi everyone, it's Kasia. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about eclipses because we are just opening the eclipse portal, and eclipses come in pairs, right? Because we start this particular pair with the full moon, which is happening right now. So today is 25th of March 2024, and we are having a lunar eclipse. To be able to have lunar eclipse, we have to see the moon, so it cannot be a new moon, right? Because then the moon disappears in the brightness of the light of the sun. Now we have sun in opposition to the moon. The moon reflects in fullness the light of the sun, but because we have also lunar nodes in close proximity, so the path of the moon and ecliptic, when they cross, we have the lunar nodes, and when the lunar nodes are very close to the full moon or new moon, that's when eclipses happen. And between the first eclipse and the second eclipse, we're in this kind of liminal in-between space where astrologically it's not really great to do much, to start new things, because we in this, mysterious, we still don't know. We know technically how eclipses work, but what they bring and how they manifest in our collective life and in our personal lives is still kind of mysterious. And we say in astrology that whatever eclipses bring often manifests in your life up to 6 months after the eclipse actually happened. So today, 25th of March, we have full moon, and this is a lunar eclipse because we can see the moon. And in tropical system of astrology, so when we separate ecliptic in 12 equal signs of the zodiac, and the lunar eclipse falls on 5 degrees and 7 minutes of Libra. And it would be really great. So we have the eclipse, full moon in Libra, the sun in Aries, because it is opposition, right? The full moon happens when the sun is opposition to the moon. So the moon is in Libra, the sun is in Aries. We just had our spring equinox, so it's Aries season right now in the tropical system. So it would be wise for you to check, do you have any planets or any points like ascendant, vocation point, MC, IC, or descendant around 5 degrees of Libra, 5 degrees of Aries, 5 degrees of Capricorn, and 5 degrees of Cancer. These are the cardinal points will be mostly affected by this eclipse, but also see what houses, what areas of life Aries and Libra fall in your chart. So for me, in my chart, 5 degrees of Libra is actually in my 3rd house. So my chart and whatever eclipse is going to activate in my particular personal life is something to do with the issues of the 3rd house and issues of the 9th house, because that's where the opposition happens, Libra and Aries. Libra and Aries axis is a relational axis. So a lot of things that you may experience, or we collectively may experience in the world around this eclipse, the first one, the lunar eclipse, is around relating to one another, relating to oneself, relationships in general, and is this relationship between me and my needs versus others and other people's needs. So this Libra Aries axis, it teaches us about individual versus collective needs, and how to navigate between what I want versus what my partners wants, what other people want, and so on. So whenever we deal with opposition, let's just look at this deck, because we also tarot readers and oracle readers, right? So I have this deck, What's in Your Stars, which I think it's a really cool deck. So Libra, when I pulled all of the Libra cards, what can we kind of moon in Libra? So moon is, in its fullness, it reflects fully what the sun is actually showing us. So the moon in Libra will be, we will be thinking about love or embarrassment, which is the Libra emotion. Libra is about relating, relationships, love. We often consider Libra, the ruler of Libra is Venus, to be connected to how we love, what we value in our relationships, what's important in love for us. Libra, of course, speaks about balance and harmonizing and balancing emotions, because the moon is in Libra, but also this is Libra's gift to us, that we can start seeing what our partners, what other people want, and maybe create a space for compromise between what do I want, Aries, and what do other people want, Libra. Libra is also about beauty, about art, about harmony, about creating beautiful spaces, creating harmonious relationships. So also beauty might come up strongly during this eclipse. It might be awoken in you, depending where it falls in your chart, or you might feel a potent need for harmonious environment, creating something beautiful, expressing yourself creatively. And of course, relationships. So how we reach out to other, how we relate to other, how we respond and receive from others as well. The Aries axis, Libra is the element of air. So there's also this intellectual element there. There's analysis, sometimes analysis paralysis. And the opposition to Libra is Aries. Aries is I want, Libra would be we want. So during this eclipse, I think a lot of us will experience, from the tropical point of view, relational aspects to our needs versus other people's needs. Aries, on the other hand, is a fire sign, right? So Libra is ruled by Venus, Aries is ruled by Mars. So we have that juxtaposition of Venus opposition Mars during this eclipse. So Sun is in Aries, the more active part of us, the more maybe conscious part of us. It's about me, right? But the eclipse can come with this surprise. And actually, when the moon is, it's what we feel like. How do we feel about other people's needs? There might be something that we start going deeper, or something might be blocked that we cannot see. And the more awareness we bring into it, the more we know ourselves, the easier will be to move through this eclipse. So Aries speaks about new beginnings, it speaks about initiating. So there might be beginnings of endings, or you might start new relationship, you might end new relationship, or you might be thinking about what is really important for you around relationships. How do you relate to other people? How do you behave in relationships? Aries is about immediacy. Aries is about impatience. We want things to happen right now. So some of these relational situations can be quite sudden for you. There might be quick decisions that are made. Just beware that during eclipses, things are not totally clear, okay? So as I mentioned in the very beginning, it's not the greatest time to take action and actually decide upon something that's really like long term. It's best to observe yourself and actually become more and more aware of what is it that's important to you. Vitality is another card that comes with Aries, and energy versus anger. So sometimes this eclipse for many of us might be activating, inspiring, especially if it's, for example, trining your sun, moon, any other planet. So if you have planets in Sagittarius, in fire, if you have planets in air, there might be, times for you when you feel activated by this eclipse. For water signs, or when you have cardinal planets, meaning Cancer, Libra, Aries, and Capricorn, this eclipse will be much more personal, and you might experience maybe bouts of anger or some old anger being awoken, and you have a chance to harmonize this. But with Libra, Aries, it's really important that Aries can learn from Libra more diplomacy, more tact, and taking, into consideration what other people want and other people's needs, and also less struggling, I do it myself, me, myself, and I, versus more relating, opening up to input from other people. But Libra can learn from Aries more assertiveness, because Libra can get very pro-con and indecisive. So Libra can learn more assertiveness, more kind of connection to what we actually desire, and more of like recognizing its own desires before it goes for compromise, or focuses on desires of other people. And Libra can definitely learn from Aries less people pleasing and more self-connection and authenticity. So this Libra-Aries axis, if you follow tropical system, this lunar eclipse will be definitely having an impact on your relationships, on yourself, and how you relate to others, and what's important around your relationships. When we move into the stars, and what maybe would be an advice from heavens, when we look out into the skies, the constellational part of this eclipse is actually happening in Virgo and Pisces axis. So Virgo and Pisces has a totally different energy, right? In tropical, we have air and fire, very combustible, very relational, very kind of me and others. Virgo Pisces axis is much more healing. It's a water earth axis, right? It's opposition of water and earth. It speaks about healing. It speaks about a devotion. It speaks about a ritual, about sacred spaces, about grace, about release of control and receiving, about discrimination of what's important, about service and sharing and taking care and compassionate action towards other people. It's much more kind of others focused. And this axis really teaches us about healthy boundaries. It teaches us about facing our perfectionist and our victim archetypes. How can we trust and surrender our fears or worries, which is Virgo side, and expectations, and then open up to grace, to receiving input. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. There's no boundaries. It's opening up to the vastness of cosmic energies, and to healing, to devotional practice, to knowing that you are part of the bigger whole, and also not taking yourself so seriously, because you only have that much control about your own life and only that much input, and this eclipse can open you up to seeing a bigger whole. So Virgo and Pisces excel at ritual, at devotional practices, at spiritual practices, at taking care of your body and your mind and your spirit. So there's this holistic approach to it. If you would say like the Venus and Mars in the tropical would be really about relationships and balancing and harmonizing that masculine and feminine parts to us, Pisces and Virgo would be about priestessing and creating holy space and taking care of your fellow human beings, healing, bringing in, there's this water earth energy. It's fertile, but it's still kind of like mushy. So Virgo can teach Pisces about discernment, about boundaries, and Pisces can show Virgo how to relax into being, stop worrying, and trust life. So, from star perspective, Virgo constellation is quite a large constellation. It's a very old constellation, very connected to feminine lineage, to goddess lineage, to priestessing, to ritual, to devotion. So it's perfect time to really take care of your body, to look at what's important to you. Moon would be in Virgo, so it's a very kind of emotional cleansing, paying attention to your emotions and being present to your emotions as well. And Sun is in Pisces, in the constellation of Pisces. So Sun is maybe bringing some awareness to deep seated issues, to deep seated unconscious stuff that might start coming up. And both of these constellations are very important in healing practices. So during this eclipses portal, as I mentioned, it would be really nice to use both. When we have this Libra and Aries axis, if you experience this from tropical system, because that's often what we experience right here and now on Earth, if you experience this as a relational aspects, the stars, the constellations suggest what could be done about this. How could you approach this relational aspect from the perspective of healing, from the perspective of discernment, from the perspective of compassion to yourself and to others. And this is a good time to heal any relational wounding, especially that later on, the next eclipse is on April 8th. It's the solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse. And that could be a natural continuation of this seed energy of healing and releasing old wounds. Because April's new moon is conjunct Chiron. And Chiron brings in healing. It's an archetype of the healer. So I have the sense of that there is this like invitation to rolling out a carpet over mud. It says here, sometimes old wounds become forgotten, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. Roll back the carpet and delve into the muck. Only by doing so you can heal and move forward. So I'm thinking, you know, based on these two systems, there's what appears, it's like this invitation to healing, invitation to acting out upon what unconscious stuff eclipse might bring to us. And during eclipses, it's kind of very symbolic, like some of the light of the moon, the sun, it's dimmed, it's not so clear. So it's not the best time to decide and act upon the decision, but it's a really good time to withdraw, to observe, to listen, to watch. And establish, you know, safe space for you to do that, if you can. So I feel like this opportunity to heal and to open up to compassion, to compassionate action, will be there with the lunar eclipse, with the solar eclipse on April 8th. The eclipse on the 8th of April, which is the solar eclipse, we cannot see the moon. It's a new moon. It's happening in the tropical sign of Aries, and it's happening in the constellation of Pisces. But we also have Mars and Saturn meeting conjunction during this April 8th solar eclipse. And I feel that this Mars and Saturn conjunction, traditionally, you know, when you look at history of these conjunctions, they can start new conflicts. It's quite a powerful meeting of two malefic planets in traditional astrology. But this meeting is happening in constellation of Aquarius. And I'm feeling that maybe, you know, with this Aquarian star flavor, because Saturn is still in the constellation of Aquarius and Mars is going to join Saturn, there might be a bit more of a push for liberty, for freedom, for equality. Maybe, I'm just hoping that maybe people will start standing up against being pushed to kill another human being, being called to go to wars. That are not their agendas. This is not our agenda. War is nobody's agenda but people who make money on war. So greed, you know, Aquarius is futuristic. Aquarius can, like, there can be a big pushback. So I'm thinking maybe if the establishment pushes us too hard, this can backfire in the long term. Aquarian energy is revolutionary. It's breaking free of oppression. That's historically what was happening. So yeah, I would love to see that manifestation of Mars and Saturn, even if we get pushed to a new conflict, or if the old conflicts get fired up, the long term, this is actually going to backfire. This is going to break us free of this oppressive nature of war mongering all over the place. So practicing compassion, practicing compassionate action, practicing healing, being aware that we are in the portal from 25th of March till 8th of April, eclipses portal. In the stars above us, we can see the eclipse in Pisces and in Virgo, and the tropical ecliptic system shows us that the eclipses happen in Aries, Libra seasons. So use this knowledge. If it's relational, you feel it's relational for you, use the stars to bring in compassion, bring in understanding, bring in forgiveness, bring in healing. And if you feel it's more connected to your health, to your devotional practices, to your quietude, to your well-being, use this time to observe and listen, and then after April 8th start acting upon it. Okay, so I hope that made sense. But before we go, why don't I pull us one card from Abaddon Keys for each of the eclipses? So what do we need to focus on during the lunar eclipse today on March 25th? Let's just pick one card from Abaddon Keys collectively. So this eclipse is happening in the stars, in the constellation of Virgo and Pisces. So that would be very Virgo. This is the goddess lineage. This is Venus, found in France, and the keyword is origin. She has 13 kind of cuts done on this horn, which was a calendar. It was a lunar calendar, lunar months, 13 lunar months. So 13 is a very special number. We know that there is 13th constellation of Fucus. There is 13 tones of creation from the Mayan cosmology as well. It's something that I keep researching and looking into. It seems like a very misunderstood number, very kind of you bet, but there is something in it that's mysterious, that's a mystery, that's potency, that has importance. And this origin for this particular eclipse, it invites us, and let's just see, because I love this booklet. It invites us, this origin key has come to you today to search for the origin of the problem or situation you are questioning. So if this is relational, let's say, or if this is health issue, or if this is well-being issue, or a spiritual issue, this is a good time now during this portal, not to act, but to search for the origin of the problem. How did it begin? How would things be different if you were to start over again? To look at any given situation with beginner's mind can be a gift that a fresh start will give you. If you are looking at certain qualities that will help you through difficult times, then this key calls to begin again. So there is this like invitation for opening, for looking at time differently as well, for making choices based on bigger perspective and really understanding what's at the root or the origin of the problem or the issue or the question. And then for the eclipse on April 8th, solar eclipse, what do we need to pay attention to? And we have soul questions. So origin and soul questions. This one seems a little bit more active on our part. So research, check for this particular eclipse right now, Libra-Aries, and then for the new moon in Aries or the new moon in Pisces, soul questions. That would fit more the new moon in Pisces, because Pisces is about soul, about our soul path, about our contracts, about our spiritual understanding, evolution. So soul question here in Abaton keys, it's number 7. It's interesting, we got 7 and 3, which is 1, so there is some new beginnings also indicated in these 2 eclipses. This is the key connected to Socrates, and here the questions of the soul will follow in a thoughtful dialogue with the self. Allow your intuition to ask questions and don't censor yourself in the process. This is a spiritual exercise and is only by asking questions, a mystical invocation, that you will find out what is worth letting go of, what is worth keeping, and what is the most essential core of the situation or relationship in question. So this is really perfect for us during this eclipse. Find the root of the issue, if it's relational, and then ask questions. Don't be afraid of asking important questions and being honest with yourself in answering those questions and going and taking time to actually do that, because you just might find out interesting things that just time will heal or will tell or will show that you may understand now better than any other times. Do not act upon them just now. Wait throughout this eclipse portal. It's a good time to research, good time to withdraw, good time to observe and listen rather than act. But yeah, these are the healing possibilities that we can embark upon during this time. I see you soon. Thanks for listening.